Good morning, children. Sai Ram. Today we will start with the second part of the lesson, An Education in Science by Stephen William Hawking. Before we start, as always, you will be ready with a pen and a book to jot down the meanings, whatever is given in the lesson, or sometimes I'll be telling you some of the meanings. Shall we start? In the previous video, we have seen how Stephen Hawking has discussed the state of affairs of science in the present scenario. So, an education in science, he means that how science is taught to the non-scientist, that is children or the general public as such. He also discusses how science is taught to the children in schools. He thinks that science is taught in a very dry and uninteresting way. Let us see what tips he gives to make it interesting. Children learn it by rote to pass examinations, and they do not see its relevance to the world around them. Moreover, science is often taught in terms of equations. So what he says? He says that children learn science by rote. By rote means by memorizing. They learn the answers, they learn the question answers only to pass examinations. And they do not see its relevance to the world around them. That means they don't relate to the world. They do not apply the knowledge. That is, they don't understand the scientific concepts. They only learn to pass the examination. They don't apply their knowledge to the actual things, what is going on. That is, practical knowledge they don't have. Okay. Then he says, moreover, science is often taught in terms of equations. Right? All the equations are a concise and accurate way of describing mathematical ideas. They frightened most people. So what does he say? He says that science is often taught in terms of equations. Now, equations are a very concise and accurate way. That means in a very brief and comprehensive manner, accurately, they can describe the mathematical ideas. But they frighten most people. People are frightened of equations. Even you people are sometimes frightened, of equations. So you memorize the equations. So it's difficult. When I wrote a popular book recently, I was advised that each equation I included would halve the sales. I include one equation, Einstein's famous equation, E is equal to mc square. Maybe I would have twice as many copies without it. He gives the example how equations or formulas frighten people. Now he had written a very popular book, and in that book he actually was advised that he should not include the formula. So what he had included one formula. What was that? Einstein's famous equation. That is E is equal to mc square. You have studied, I think. That is, energy is equal to mass and c2 is the speed of the light squared. So what he says, that if he wouldn't have written that equation, he would have sold twice the copies. Right? Scientists and engineers tend to express their ideas in the form of equations because they need to know the precise values of quantities. So, scientists and engineers, they express their idea in the form of equation. Why? Because it is needed for them. They want to know the exact value of how much, what is the amount they should take, what are the quantity they should take to get the desired result. It is okay for the scientists and engineers. But for the rest of us, a qualitative grasp of scientific concepts is sufficient, and this can be conveyed by words and diagrams without the use of equations. So he says that for engineers and scientists, okay, if they use equations because they need it. But what about the rest of us? What about the other people? They should only get the or understand the scientific concepts. That is only sufficient. How this can be done? This can be conveyed, that means this can be told or communicated by words and diagrams without the use of equations. The science people learn in school can provide the basic framework, but the rate of scientific progress is now so rapid that there are always new developments that have occurred since one was at school or university. So what he says, science, whatever you are learning in school, it provides you just the basic framework. That means the basic ideas. But scientific progress is so fast that by the time you are in the university, science has developed so much. So you have to keep pace with that. I never learnt about molecular biology or transistors at school, but genetic engineering and computers are two of the developments most likely to change the way we live in the future. So what he says, he has not studied about molecular biology or transistors at school, but the two field, that is genetic engineering and computers, they are developing very fast and they are bound to change the way we live in. They are going to change our future. Popular books and magazine articles about science can help to put across new developments. But even the most successful popular book is read by only a small proportion of the population. Only television can reach a truly mass audience. There are some very good science programs on TV, but some just present scientific wonders just as magic without explaining them or showing how they fit into the framework of scientific ideas. Producers of television science program should realize that they have a responsibility to educate the public and not just entertain it. Now he gives tips how television can reach the masses, as television is watched by a great number of people. Now on television there are some scientific programs which are good, but some are just shown as a magic and they don't explain it by, scientifically they don't explain it. They show them as magic. What are the science related issues that the public will have to make decisions on in the near future? By far the most urgent is that of nuclear weapons. So he is asking where people should have to make decision. It is about the nuclear weapons. Other global problems such as food supply or the greenhouse effect are relatively slow acting. But a nuclear war could mean the end of all human life on earth within days. So he says the other problems, whatever we have, environmental problem or the food shortage, food crisis, these are like slow poison. They are harmful, but they act very slowly. But nuclear war, if it happens within days, human life on earth will be destroyed. The relaxation of East-West tensions brought about by the ending of Cold War has meant that the fear of a nuclear war has receded from public mind. Now, East-West tensions, what was that? You know that after the Second World War, the two superpowers, that is Soviet Union in the East and America, USA in the West, they became very powerful. Each of them wanted to show that they are powerful. So there was political and military tensions between the two. So these tensions continued till 1992. 1992, the Cold War ended with the fall of Soviet Union. It disintegrated. So people thought that there will be no nuclear war. Let us see the difficult words or the new words which we have come across. East-West tension, that is hostility between Russia and America, receded, means gradually gone. But the danger is still there as long as there are enough weapons to kill the entire population many times over. In former Soviet states and in America, nuclear weapons are still poised to strike all the major cities in the northern hemisphere. It would only take a computer error or a mutiny by some of those manning the weapons to trigger a global war. It is even more worrying that even minor powers are now acquiring nuclear weapons. Russia and America, they are ready with the nuclear weapons. He says what is more worrying factor is that even minor powers, small countries, they are also acquiring nuclear weapons. Mutiny, a situation where workers disobey the person in authority and try to take control of things. Trigger, to start. The major powers have behaved in a reasonably responsible way, but one cannot have such confidence in minor powers like Libya or Iraq, Pakistan, or even Azerbaijan. He says that the major powers have been responsible enough. But what about these minor powers? What they will do, we never know. The danger is not so much in the actual nuclear weapons that such powers may soon possess, which would be fairly rudimentary, though they could still kill millions of people. Rather, the danger is that a nuclear war between two minor powers could draw in the major powers with their enormous arsenal. That means if a nuclear war starts between them, they can bring the major powers, and the major powers will come with their huge arsenal. Rudimentary, that means simple. Arsenal, store of arms and ammunition. It is very important that the public realize the danger and put pressure on all governments to agree to large arms cut. So he tells that people should understand the danger and put pressure on the government to reduce their arms and ammunition. It probably is not practical to remove nuclear weapons entirely, but we can lessen the danger by reducing the number of weapons. So, nuclear weapons let us have, but we have to reduce the number of weapons. If we manage to avoid a nuclear war, there are still other dangers that could destroy us all. There is a sick joke that the reason we have not been contacted by an alien civilization is that civilizations tend to destroy themselves when they reach our stage. But I have enough faith in the good sense of the public to believe that we might prove this wrong. He says even if we manage to avoid a nuclear war, there are other dangers that could destroy us all, as we are experiencing now. So he talks about a sick joke, why the aliens have not contacted us. He says, because the civilization tend to destroy themselves when they reach our stage. That means he says that when the civilizations become too developed, they try to destroy themselves, as it is happening. So he says, but he ends with a positive note and says that I have full faith in the people. They should try to reduce the arms race and put pressure on the government so that the nuclear war should not take place. Children, I hope you have understood the lesson. Now let us see the value points. These are the important points which will help you to answer the questions. Let's have RTC questions now. I included one equation, Einstein's famous equation E is equal to mc square. Where did the writer include one equation? He included the equation in a popular book that he wrote. Why did he include just one equation? He was told that including equations in the book would make its sale go down. What does he feel would have happened if he had not included this equation? He feels that the book would have sold twice as many copies if he hadn't included the equations. Children, with this we come to the end of the lesson. I hope you have understood the lesson. After the end of this video, there will be a link. You have to click on the link and submit your answers. Thank you. Have a nice day.